it up somehow.
Well, yes, you hear that theme song, and my Straight Dog family, you know it's time for me to welcome you to another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to say good night to the world, because we are on the World Wide Web, and we reach and touch you all over the world. But let's start at home. It said charity begins at home, so we say greetings and a very pleasant night to St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's say, my Straight Dog family, a very pleasant night to the entire Eastern Caribbean region. And to my Straight Dog family in the Kittitian division and Caribbean diaspora all over the world, I can say good night. I will say good night. I will say good morning, and I will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And I want to, in the process, thank all those who continue to share the link. When you do so, we get first-timers. And for the first-timers, we wish to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with the opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And I always hasten to add that as your host, I pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness, as I am always reminded by these favorite words of mine from a favorite hymn of mine, which goes something like this: we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. So let's seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. So my Straight Talk family, and especially the first timers, absolutely nothing is watered down on this program to make it more interesting, neither by omission nor by exaggeration. Straight Talk is not about sensationalism, not at all. Straight Talk is not about creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, because we lean on the facts. We lean on the facts, as it's my duty to present the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance and transparency, especially in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this program joins us together with people across our federation. Through this program, we are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. Some we know very well and have met. Others we do not know, and many we will never meet. Some will agree with the positions of truth advanced on Straight Talk, and some will disagree, and that's fine, because we promote diversity, as we have an audience it's mixed with different people from different parts of the world, from different races, different ethnic backgrounds, and the list goes on. But what will sadden me, my Straight Talk family, is if we ever start to become disagreeable. So let's, in the meanwhile, thank Almighty God, nonetheless, for helping us to understand, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for the day when we will all sing his praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks once more for those who share the link. As you bring first-timers, please continue to do so. For the first-timers, I must also inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean, we include your calls and your emails. And if you are so minded, call in. The numbers are 663-6672. That's a local number. You can access that from overseas as well. Just inject the area code, which is 869. There's a US number as well available to you, 646-829-6672. Or for those who like what I call the cloak of anonymity, we give you access via our email platform. And the address is Straight Talk Patches. That's one word, Straight Talk, STRAIGHTTALKPATCHES, Straight Talk Patches at gmail.com. Some of you also have the Alexa app. Alexa been in the news in recent days. You have the Alexa app, so just go to Alexa, say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio, and you will be connected as well by that medium to Straight Talk. And a special welcome to my junior brigade. I can never forget my junior brigade, young Dwayne, Tristan, Shama, Kevin, Rue, Travis and Chavon, Jamal, and that special lady helped me out again today. Thanks a lot. That special lady in St. Louis. And I want to start on a very sad note tonight, my Straight Talk family. A very, very sad note. I learned today of the passing of a stalwart, a family of mine as well, I may hasten to add, who has gone to the great beyond. And it really touched me, because I passed by the house there in Keys over the last couple of days. And I never stopped, and I always intended to. I never called. And you must always follow your mind. So when I heard of the passing of Wayan Vaughn, who hails there from Keys, who got the second highest national award, the Companion of the Star of Merit, just recently. After some 4 decades or more of outstanding contribution and leadership in the field of education. Yes, he taught at the Basset Boys School, the Keon High School, Sadler's All-Age School. And yes, he was in fact the principal of the Bastia High School, and he did in fact was a lecturer at the CFBC. Good sportsman, one-time fast bowler. His length was longer than his speed, or well, that doesn't make sense. His length was long, but the speed did not match up to his length. When you see Holding and those guys took that run from almost to the boundary, they delivered. Wayan had that length, but not the speed. Good sportsman, yes. But he has gone to the great beyond, and we want to extend condolences to his dear wife, Lucine, his entire family, his sisters, his entire family. Too numerous to call, but we'll all miss Wayan. It's been rather subdued in recent times. Of course, over the years, he has had to endure some medical issues, medical problems, but he was always a fighter. And I saw the scene over a week or 2 ago, I think it was, and she told me he was out the hospital. In passing, we didn't really actually stop and have a conversation. But Wayan has gone to the great beyond, and we can only hope and pray that his soul will rest in eternal peace. We'll have some time to really say our goodbyes to Wayan, I'm sure, sooner rather than later. I also want, as a public service announcement as well, to remind our listeners about that Peace and Justice Walk coming up this Saturday, day after tomorrow, which starts at the Caribbean Cinema over there in Bucklers. Starts at 6 a.m., so we trust and hope we will all go out and show solidarity so we can get rid of this scourge of crime that has taken over our nation, especially at this time under this July administration. So this coming Saturday, my Straight Talk family, the Peace and Justice Walk, reminded, starts at 6 a.m. in the morning. We normally have our observations in review. It's a time when we highlight rather the current issues, we do some reflection. We may then ask a few questions, such as what was accomplished, how has it helped us, and how has it helped others as well? What has changed since, and what can be expected next, and what we have learned as a people, because it's all about a learning process. Here on Straight Talk, it's all about a learning process. And after our observation in review, we will begin our normal thesis. And our short dissertation or our thesis for tonight, I have titled, Genius Has Its Limits. Stupidity, beg your pardon, has none. So don't change the link. Just spread the word that Straight Talk is on live at the moment. And for my first observation, on my last episode, I raised the issue about corruption in the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis police force. I also raised the issue of political interference in the force, in particular by the crime minister, who is the minister responsible for crime and is the minister responsible for national security, as we say, crime, and thus responsible for the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis police force. And when I saw this picture, my Straight Dog family, when I saw this picture posted on the police web page, or his Facebook page, I think I saw it, as the minister with responsibility for national security, or crime as we say, my first reaction that as the minister, he has no role to play in the promotion of enlisted officers. But if that was not bad enough, my Straight Dog family, if that was not bad enough, just yesterday, the crime minister boasted about advancing officers. Do you believe this, my Straight Dog family?
Levels. And so I want to thank the police for the work they have been doing. I just recently, of course, advanced a number of police officers because of their hard work and dedication and so forth.
But my Straight Dog family just advance officers because of their dedication and hard work. But Dr. July is so deceitful, and as someone said, he's so dunce for him to believe he can fool the people in St. Kitts and Nevis, who are so highly intelligent. Yes, we know that you are interfering with the operations, Dr. July, but you cannot and did not appoint any office or officer, beg your pardon, because of their hard work and dedication. Dr. July, the Constitution and the Police Act are very clear about promotions. And the Police Act speaks to promotions for superintendents in the police and other officers. And it reads, as you can see on your screens, my Straight Dog family, Section 12 of the Police Act reads, any appointment to the police officer of a person to the rank of superintendent, assistant superintendent, and inspector shall, underline shall, be made by the Governor General acting in accordance with the recommendation of the Commission. Commission meaning the Police Service Commission. It continues, any person or any appointment, beg your pardon, to the police force of a person to the rank of station sergeant, corporal, constable, and special constable shall be made by the Governor General acting in accordance with the recommendation of the Commission. Here's where it gets very interesting, my Straight Dog family. Section 13, subsection 2 reads, and I quote, the Governor General acting in accordance with the recommendation of the Commission may, by directions in writing and subject to such conditions as he thinks fit, delegate the powers conferred upon him by subsection 1 to A, one or more members of the commission; B, the chief of police, beg your pardon; C, any other officer of the police force, except, it continues, that the Governor General shall not delegate to a person referred to in paragraph A and C the power referred to in this subsection without the consent of the Prime Minister. How do you interpret that? That's very clear. If the Governor General delegates powers conferred upon him to issue these appointment letters to one or more members of the commission or an officer of the police force, then the Prime Minister can take exception. But look at B, my Stray Dog family. The Governor General can, in writing and subject to the conditions he thinks fit, well, in the case is she now, delegate the powers conferred to the chief of police. So Dr. July had no call to interfere with those promotions, especially to promotions or issuing letters of appointments to superintendents and the inspectors as well, as he did. And then coming with his nonsense to the country that he advanced these police officers. Hear this.
And so I want to thank the police for the work they have been doing. I just recently, of course, advanced a number of police officers because of their hard work and dedication and so forth.
You couldn't advance any police officers, Dr. July. There were 5 vacancies for the rank of superintendent, as Cromwell Henry was promoted to Deputy Commissioner of Police. Francis, I think, is Junior Francis, I'm not too sure. And Travis Rogers were promoted to Assistant Commissioner of Police. Superintendent Mills, I can't recall her first name, from Sandy Point, retired and or resigned. And there was need for, or a vacancy for, a superintendent in professional standards. I think that's where Carla Wallace has gone to. So as these vacancies were filled, openings for inspectors would arise and would be filled by sergeants. And so too, as the sergeant positions become vacant, they're filled by the corporal ranks. And all these that became vacant were also filled. So, Dr. July, stop with your deceit. And stop with your interference. Prime Minister, stop telling so many lies. Keep out the operations of the force and leave the commissioner to do his job. Our second observation, my Stray Dog family, sometime last year, Stray Dog exposed the condition of the bathrooms at the Pelican Mall. Remember, we exposed the conditions down there. What a shame. A few days thereafter, we saw they were all boarded up, my Stray Dog family. All the bathrooms were boarded up a few days thereafter. Yes, they were hoarded. And my Stray Dog family, We all anticipated that repair work would have begun on the bathrooms. Big notice, close, my Street Dog family. And we all anticipated that there would be repair work, or as it says, bathrooms closed for renovations. And it says bathrooms or restroom or alternative restroom facilities, beg your pardon, have been made available near the Amina Market. Well, the Amina Market is just around the corner. And look at this. Some porta potties. Much to the embarrassment of the country, a bank of porta potties was made available, my Street Dog family. And I want to say it is with a great sense of shame that after 2 years, these porta potties placed right below the office of the Minister of Tourism are all we offer to our residents and visitors to our destination. Is that the best we can do in a #1 tourism destination? We can do better than that, I very well believe, my Street Dog family. It is time we get those bathrooms fixed at the Pelican Mall. We know there are issues and people are moving out. You understand the bank has also moved out and moved on. But let's get those bathrooms. What the hell would it cost and how long would it take? It cannot take 2 years to repair bathroom, Ministry of Tourism. Of course not. Cannot. And we ought to demonstrate a little more pride as a top tourism destination. And those are my observations in review for tonight, my Street Dog family. And I will move right into my thesis. And as I mentioned earlier, I have titled my thesis, Genius Has Its Limits. Stupidity has none. And earlier today, my Street Dog family, and before coming to join you in conversation tonight, my Street Dog family, I did some reflection on the state of my beloved country, or I should say our beloved country. And it was not difficult to conclude that things are not good. Things are not good in St. Kitts Nevis. I'm sure all of us who have stuck it out here would agree. I'm sure that you will agree with me that things are bad. Yes, I know that things are bad in North America, in USA and elsewhere. So it's obvious that things will also be bad here in St. Kitts Nevis. But those in leadership, all they do is to cast blame, apportion blame, instead of governing the country. Those in the current leadership of our country told us that investors waited on the Labour Party, my Street Dog family. They told us this.
It's quite interesting that after the elections, a number of investors came forward. And they said, Dr. Joe, we had been waiting to invest in St. Kitts and Nevis. And they said, why you didn't do it then? And they said they couldn't do it under the last administration. So we are looking at that, so they will have more, foreign investment that would help to stir the economy.
And that was 2 years ago, my Street Dog family, in August of 2022. They also told us that in them we will find a team of experts. Yes, experts.
I'm tremendously proud of this team. This team is filled with experts in various fields. Any field you might call, there's an expert here, somebody who is well versed in that area, even more versed than me, and that's a good thing. So if I talk about sustainable development, you have Dr. Joya Clark. If I speak to youth and women affairs, you have Honorable Iselin. If I speak about small business and entertainment and agriculture, Honorable Samuel Duggins, well established. If I speak about energy and engineering and so forth, the Honorable Conwys Maynard. If I speak about the law, it's a given, or our AGS. When I speak about the tourism product and the advancement of labor laws and so forth, we have our learned Honorable who is a lawyer. When I speak about experience in government, we have our senior minister, the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas. When I speak about education, and I mean, when you talk about empowering of the youth and community development, we have our Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley. And so this team is a serious team.
My Straight Talk family, for 2 years, Dr. July has been trying to convince, I don't know whom, because it is so ridiculous, so absurd, so silly, such stupidity, when he will continue to peddle nonsensical statements like this one, my Straight Dog family.
We have been getting calls, lots of calls, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I imagine in other parts of the world, it is day when it is the 4 in the morning here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have been bombarded by persons who are interested in investing in St. Kitts and Nevis. And of note, we have not seen any significant major investment in the last 7 years. And therefore, I think our people must know that people are ready to invest in St. Kitts and Nevis again.
And my Straight Talk family, what is so sad, he even made that comment as recently as yesterday. My Straight Talk family, when I heard the Prime Minister Dr. July yesterday, I immediately thought about the former Prime Minister of Britain, Tony Blair. And I told you about this before. Tony Blair addressed himself, as reported by the BBC on their online news journal, some 14 years ago. Prime Minister Tony Blair said to himself, as you can glean from the content there on your screens, on your monitors, and I quote, "You idiot, you naive, foolish, irresponsible nincompoop." That's what Tony Blair said to himself. And it brought me back to that particular article when I heard the comments of our Prime Minister yesterday. And just like the article says, and Tony Blair said to himself, there is really no description of stupidity, no matter how vivid, that is adequate. I quake at the imbecility of it, reads the article. I did not fabricate the article. We don't fabricate things here. We bring you the facts. And my Straight Talk family, while reflecting though, a famous quotation came to mind which goes like this, and I quote, "The difference between genius and stupidity is that genius has its limits. And many pundits suggest that there is no substantive evidence. Yet this quotation has been long time ago attributed to Albert Einstein. I decided to use the quotation as my point of departure, however. But I tweaked it a little. And that is why I have titled my thesis for tonight, Genius Has Its Limits. Stupidity has none. So my Straight Talk family, while acknowledging that the past is crucial for understanding current challenges, it is imperative for those in leadership roles, especially those in government. It is necessary for them to accept their responsibility to govern effectively. Dr. July must focus on advancing the country rather than dwelling on past grievances or blaming his predecessors. Every time you hear him, Harris this, Harris that, Harris this, Harris, Harris. The time has long come and gone, Dr. July, for concentrating on constructive solutions to drive progress forward for the benefit of the Federation. When will Dr. July transcend? When will Dr. July rise above the inclination, the tendency to blame Team Unity and focus on the present and the future? Dr. July has the responsibility to lead the country towards progress and improvement and cast aside these historical grievances. 2 years have gone poof, and this administration still has no clear vision, it seems, for the country's future, and which outlines specific, actionable goals and strategies. When asked about capital projects, all he could say is this, my Straight Talk family.
So capital project, I will say, let me go through them for you, if you don't mind. Smart homes, on their way. Right, on the way. The hospital, on the way as well. The school, on the way as well. The solar plant or solar farm, on the way as well. There are some others I will mention, not yet, but they are definitely coming on the way. We have about 2 other major investments. One will be an agriculture major investment that will also come. We have an investment for the airport, that is advancing significantly as well. I'm saying that when, in the next few months, I'm almost certain that we'll run out of construction workers here.
Imagine that, my Straight Talk family. This current crop of leaders is not accountable to the citizens and the residents of this country for the outcomes of their policies and actions, if at all they have any policies. They're not accountable, my Straight Dog family. I spoke to you about the desalination plant that Dr. Jude told us about. Its cost of some $60 million. A contract was handed to Royal Utilities Limited. Handed in the context meaning it did not satisfy the Procurement and Administration Act, my Straight Talk family. And worse yet, we understand it's a public benefit option, a PBO, under the CBI program. Well, how many units were given to the Royal Utility Limited or the Marriott? How many units? Will they hand over the plan to the government? And when? Or would government have to purchase water from the Royal Utilities Limited? These are issues that ought to come to the public. You spoke about the prison and thousands of shares, but how many shares have you issued, has the CBI issued for that desalination plant? How many shares have been issued for that creative project, creative administration? I forgot the title of the ministry. How many shares have been given for that PBO project under the hill over there in East Bassett Hill? These are issues that are shrouded in secrecy. Why? And you said you are a proponent of transparency. And this outspoken retired teacher summed it up well, my Straight Dog family. He summed it up well for us when Ira said this.
We have a really serious problem as it pertains to how government views its role in not just governing and administering the country, but how it interacts with the public. They seem to have, and all of the governments are guilty of it, including the current one. They seem to have an almost self-imposed blackout of information. That's why yesterday I made a point of asking the Prime Minister if he's satisfied with our levels of transparency. Because to me, it leaves a lot to be desired. Right? He himself said that essentially he's a work in progress, and that not where we should be yet. But the thing is, that was the excuse of a lot of the previous administrations. And I'm saying that it should not take long for measures to be put in place to make sure that there's openness in government.
Yes. There must be openness in government. There must be accountability. There's no accountability, no openness in this July administration. No openness in government, no transparency. There's also a serious discrepancy, my Straight Dog family, in the housing policy of this July Labour administration. As we will find that there is a purpose and an execution misalignment, I call it. I say so because the fundamental role of the National Housing Corporation is to ensure access to affordable housing for vulnerable population, or for the vulnerable population, or those who are vulnerable, I should say, in our population. And we can think of the poor and the indigent. The Act speaks to that. The National Housing Corporation Act speaks to the mandate of the NHC to provide housing for the poor and the indigent. However, the decision to embark on an historically large housing project has created more questions than answers, my Straight Dog family. The slow student said this.
Today, as the minister responsible for housing and human settlement, I am pleased to formally announce that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and National Housing Corporation NHC has signed a contract with East Coast Housing Development, a Trinidadian-based developer, to finance and deliver 2,400 affordable smart homes over a period of 4 years, 600 of which will be made available each year.
And my Straight Dog family, you heard the slow student yourselves. So where is Brian Singh? And what is the current situation with that contract signed for 2,400 houses? It is a big secret, my Straight Dog family. a big secret. And I'm happy that we have people in our midst, like Ira McMahon, who would question this.
When this whole housing thing started, for instance, the impression given was that the developer would also finance the homes, and then people would, those who are bankable, I think was the term used, would then go and acquire them, etc., etc. If there's a new model, we have not we don't know of it. Okay, certainly the timelines that were given at first, those have gone to the window long time, and we are none the wiser about what is the current situation, right? And there are so many other projects that are supposed to be, should have been rolled out already, that's still in the pipeline. I think the term used was coming soon. I remember asking the Attorney General one, why can't the housing contract be made public? And he gave the same nonsensical argument about, well, there may be trade secrets in a housing contract. Huh? You know, and we're supposed to accept things like that. That's ridiculous. But every time having to make excuses, and, you know, it's becoming unbearable now, to be quite honest.
Yes, it has become unbearable. And yes, Garth Lucifer Wilkin advised the country about what I call bankability. He said this. This is what he said, Mr. McMahon.
It is not government buying the houses or NHC buying the houses. It's individuals buying the houses. This is the solution for persons who are bankable and can take a mortgage loan from a credit union or a bank, and they can purchase a one-bedroom house for $111,000, a two-bedroom for $213,000, and a three-bedroom for $497,000.
Imagine that. One-bedroom house for $110,000, which poor and indigent can buy that house. That's why he said it needs to be bankable. What Garth Lucifer Wilkin told the country that this housing project caters only to those who can afford bank loans, which is in stark contrast or starkly contrast with the NHC mission. This misalignment, as I call it, reveals a profound failure in policy execution, where this grandiose project, this monumental project, fails to address the real needs of the intended beneficiaries of NHC projects. Result is a missed opportunity to address the pressing needs of low-income people, of the low-income population effectively. In the context of the East Coast Housing Development Project, this boundless stupidity, I call it, manifests in several ways. The failure to conduct thorough needs assessments, the neglect of input from community stakeholders, and the disregard for established best practices in affordable housing development. The result is a policy that not only fails to achieve its intended goals, but also compounds existing socio-economic issues. The paradox, the contradiction of constructing high-end housing projects by a national housing corporation designed to aid the poor and indigent, exemplifies, my stray dog family, Einstein's observation that while genius has its limits, stupidity often does not. The dismantling of a peace program led to a resurgence of violence and instability, as evidenced by the increase in murder rates and heightened fear among the entire population. 65 murders in 2 years under Dr. July. And worse yet, the word on the street is that the hands of a member of the July cabinet are red. Hear me. The word on the street is that the hands of a member of the July cabinet are red. What about our CBI program, my Street Talk family? Is it on the verge of collapsing because of a convicted felon, Philippe Martinez? Martinez came on the scene in late 2019 or early 2020, right in the heart of COVID-19, after being designated persona non grata in Barbados, meaning that he was an unacceptable or unwelcome investor. It also means that the government of Barbados did its due diligence on this convicted French felon who spent years in a French jail. But he found his way to Nevis, my Street Talk family. He found his way to Nevis, and the snake, Mark Brantley. We know the story by now. He found his way to Nevis, and the snake, Mark Brantley, only hugged up Philippe Martinez. Or not only hugged up Philippe Martinez, I should say, but paid handsomely for his company. The snake, Mark Brantley, as Minister of Finance, beg your pardon, in Nevis, sanctioned the payment of $150,000 US from the Nevis Treasury to MSR per month. Over $400,000 per month from the Nevis Treasury, sanctioned by the Minister of Finance in Nevis, Snake Mark Brantley.
Yes, there is a financial arrangement with MSR. I believe the number is $150,000. Yes, there is a financial arrangement with MSR. I believe the number is $150,000.
He believes, he knows it's $150,000 US. So didn't the snake Mark Brantley and the Nevis Island administration do due diligence on Philippe Martinez? But that's a pertinent question. If they did, have turned a blind eye to the report because this man does not have a good business record, my Straight Knock family. This man was bankrupt several times. He has been taken to court on numerous occasions. Even recently, his former employee, beg your pardon, filed a claim against him for over $500,000. Yes, my Straight Talk family. Just recent. He has been taken to court for failing to pay his employee as per contract. That's no secret. So how does this did this Philippe Martinez get under the radar? We ask ourselves the question. And Don Lockerman, my Straight Dog family, is claiming $759,000, representing his salary, or as he called it, financial loss, and my Straight Dog family. He's claiming that, my Straight Dog family. $159,000. And how was that for a man? How is that? Imagine, my Straight Dog family, imagine this man has been given approval by Dr. July. This man has been given approval by Dr. July to sell citizenship, to sell our passports, my Straight Dog family. This man, Philippe Martinez, has been given permission to sell our passports. Could you imagine that, my Straight Dog family? But but he cannot even qualify. He can never qualify for citizenship of St. Kitts Nevis because of his criminal record. Philippe Martinez can never get a St. Kitts Nevis passport because he's a bad man. Look at what he's doing to our CBI program and to St. Kitts Nevis. One wonders if he's aided and abetted by the chief legal advisor. Yes, we are wondering if he's aided and abetted by the chief legal advisor to St. Kitts and my straight dog family and Nevis. Because, mysteriously, the chief legal advisor, Rice Togada, who is an advisor of Philippe Martinez, and his WhatsApp messages are used as evidence in the RICO case. How could this be acceptable? How could it be acceptable, my straight dog family, for the government to be paying a chief legal advisor and his own evidence is used against the government? That can't be acceptable, my straight dog family. Philippe Martinez said that.
You have seen the WhatsApp messages of the Attorney General of St. Kitts and Nevis in the lawsuit. It's not me writing that. That is the Attorney General calling the scheme a good scam, saying that they were selling at $75,000. The legal price is $175,000, $100,000 less. This is not even a scam. This is the biggest heist that took place on the people of the Caribbean with their passport money.
Imagine my straight dog family, an attorney general. The evidence, his WhatsApp messages are used in a claim even against the government, which he advises. But what else does Garth Lucifer Wilkin has to do before he is fired or asked to resign? Because remember, he broke the laws in this country before.
That if you do not pay, you're liable to be prosecuted. You hold yourself up for that possibility.
And my straight dog family, many to Her Majesty's Prison 1840 for the same offense committed by Garth Lucifer Wilkin. But their name or names are not Wilkin. But that is the nature of this administration led by Terence Michael July, deceitful. What, may you ask, has gone wrong with July and his team of experts? Involving nature of knowledge and external factors. In contrast, stupidity, characterized by a lack of critical thinking and awareness, lacks such constraints and can perpetuate unchecked errors and misjudgments. And that must be the crux of the problems with this July administration. Because there's no water, there's no electricity, there are no jobs, no food. But this government touts the ambition that it will become the first sustainable island state in the world. How ludicrous can our leader get, my straight dog family? So foolish, unreasonable, laughable, my straight dog family, that our leader now plans to resolve our energy crisis, our water crisis, our agriculture crisis, and lastly, our economic crisis. And he said this, my Street Dog family.
Remember, we had gone to the Saudis to get funding for 2 top-line generators, which will generate the 18 megawatts generators. That process is ongoing. So we expect the generators that are going to be built, we expect to get them next year. They can work with, the normal diesel, or they can work with other type of renewable sources. So they are dual in a sense. But in addition to that, with respect to the solar plant, we have gone to reform it, renegotiate it, so that can start as well. So we have to shift to the renewable energy. And we are having serious discussions already and advancing with geothermal. So we need to resolve our energy matter so that we can resolve our water matter, so that we can resolve our agricultural matter, and then we can resolve our economic matter. So we are building St. Kitts and Nevis almost from scratch.
I want you to listen to that one more time, my Street Dog family.
Remember, we had gone to the Saudis to get funding for 2 top-line generators, which will generate the 18 megawatts generators. That process is ongoing. So we expect the generators that are going to be built, we expect to get them next year. They can work with, the normal diesel, or they can work with other type of renewable sources. So they are dual in a sense. But in addition to that, with respect to the solar plant, we have gone to reform it, renegotiate it, so that can start as well. So we have to shift to the renewable energy. And we are having serious discussions already and advancing with geothermal. So we need to resolve our energy matter so that we can resolve our water matter, so that we can resolve our agricultural matter, and then we can resolve our economic matter. So we are building St. Kitts and Nevis almost from scratch.
What convoluted talk from our Prime Minister. On the July, my Street Dog family, as he says, there's a clear strategy to build St. Kitts and Nevis almost from scratch. But I thought we said we were number 1 on the HDI, Human Development Index. But did you understand? July is the pioneer of the first dual-operated fossil fuel generator or generators that can work, according to him, with renewable energy. Fossil fuel and renewable energy. What an expert who confirms for all and sundry that genius has its limits, stupidity has none. And that's my story tonight, my Street Dog family, and I am not going to change it. But I'll open the lines and now entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do, and I'll do so momentarily, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure, my Street Dog family, that the things we do and or say will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, at 9:05, I go to the lines and say, caller, you're live. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night.
The quote for this evening: the platform will always be the same. Promise everything, delivered nothing. I repeat, the platform will always be the same. Promise everything, delivered nothing. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening as well, my Street family. Promise everything, deliver nothing. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller, you're live.
Dad.
My dear brother.
What's going on with you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
That is so wonderful, Mr. Patrick. You know, and the 16th is a holiday. That's going to be a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And the 19th, that's going to be
a holiday.
That's going to be a Thursday.
Yes, Independence Day.
Okay. Well, the next day is my birthday, you know?
Oh, you're born the 20th?
Yeah.
Okay, man, happy birthday. When it comes, I'll try and remember that, the Bible man.
Yeah, remember that.
Okay.
No, it is good. I don't know what happened to YouTube tonight, but there was a take it was showing so good today, so wonderful today, and tonight I can't get the show. I believe I'm playing later down in the week. But the word of God says, and I open the Bible tonight and Psalm 91 comes to pages. Yeah?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, right. Psalm 91 Mr. Patrick comes. I open it tonight and Psalm 91 comes. And here it says here. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High
shall abide
on the shadow of thy mighty. I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge, my fortress, in God will I trust. Surely He shall deliver me from the snares of the fowler, from the noise of the pestilence. He shall cover me with His feathers, under His wings of trust. His truth shall be my shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that fly away, nor the pestilence that walk in darkness, nor the destruction that come at noonday. Only with thine eye thou shalt behold and see the reward of the wicked. Mr. Patrick, it is good to give God thanks and praise. And today I was feeling so wonderful for the whole entire day. But I am not going to take up no more time and say that I read that I am not going to take up no more time. So, good night, Mr. Patel.
Good night, my brother. Thanks for your intervention as usual. We go straight back to the lines and say, caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Liburd.
How are you, engineer? Good evening.
Well, are you collapsing?
You're collapsing?
Yes, man. Not enjoying the heat as I ought to.
Oh,
but
the heat, okay.
No, I'm down. It's not bad tonight, but you did the whole lot. It's awful.
Yes.
Yeah. This Prime Minister we have here, the man is a massive engineer, man. The man has designed a generating system to work off of diesel and also solar energy or something, and it's not.
He's the best.
Because what he's saying is that you take a generator, for instance, an alternating current generator, which supplies AC to the mains to supply the country, and you hook up a diesel generator to it. But also connected to that
renewable
AC generator would be a direct current motor to drive the generator when you're not running it with diesel. And to drive the DC motor, you hook it up to a solar panel, I must say a solar farm to get the necessary voltage and current to drive a DC generator, to drive a 18 megawatt AC generator. This sounds like total and absolute madness. Why doesn't he leave these things to Congress to talk about if Congress is an electrical engineer or somebody else? He knows nothing about this. He's a doctor and he even have problems with health.
No, he's a pioneer. The man is a pioneer dual operated generator. That's what he said.
It sounds so crazy.
He's made to specs, you know. He's made to specs, eh? You get it next year.
Well, what's about this? The Saudis making something specific for him then.
Yeah, right.
Unless maybe the DC pad gonna come from a windmill or something of the sort. Instead of solar panels, but windmill is unreliable. Some days it's windy, some days are not. Lord, poor us. Have a good night, see?
Have a good night as well, my dear brother. And just in case you missed it, this is what our Prime Minister said about this dual-operated generator. He said this.
Remember, we had gone to the Saudis to get funding for 2 top-line generators, which will generate the 18 megawatts generators. That process is ongoing. So we expect the generators that are going to be built, we expect to get them next year. They can work with, the normal diesel, or they can work with other type of renewable sources. So they are dual in a sense. But in addition to that, with respect to the solar plant, we have gone to reform it, renegotiate it, so that can start as well. So we have to shift to the renewable energy. And we are having serious discussions already and advancing with geothermal. So we need to resolve our energy matter so that we can resolve our water matter, so that we can resolve our agricultural matter, and then we can resolve our economic matter. So we are building St. Kitts and Nevis almost from scratch.
Building St. Kitts and Nevis almost from scratch. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Yeah. Good evening, Patches.
Good evening, my dear brother Culture. How art thou?
I'm great, man. I'm great. And let me greet our students.
You have your equipment down in the background or something?
Same problem every time. Not me. It ain't me here.
Okay.
Okay. And it is embarrassing. Hearing out your calling and he still got on your radio. It ain't me. Good night, brother Straight Talk, brother Nabu, brother Sidewine, brother Welcome, brother Jamdong, and brother Frederick, Doyo, Maisie, and all the listeners and the callers to the program. We look forward for this program every Monday and every Thursday, even though sometimes, you take a holiday. But I just be thirsty for it. Let me start with that lying man, Terrence July. From the inception of his position, he tell a big lie. When he said the country is in red. And we are the amount of money he spent from the treasury, and the country is in red. That's a big lie. Then every time he open his mouth and talk, he have to call Prime Minister Dr. Harris' name and the farm administration. They did nothing in 7 years. That's why when I corner him on ZZ straight edge language or whatever you call it, I said, you said the administration before you did nothing in 7 years. Who built the new road across Old Road Bay? Was it you? Well, we were going to do it. And I said, I asked you who were going to do it. I asked you who did it. Then I asked him again, who built the new pier dock, that boat, the largest cruise ship on the ocean? Who do that? You? Or the farm administration? We were going to do it. I said, you know what happened to you? You very much untruth. And it's nothing that you say, I will believe. And I left him there. So he embarrassed himself to the wall where he lied.
Now, you know what happened to he Patches? The way he run in this country here, as the position that he take over and say he's prime minister, not for me. When Jesus went in the temple, which belongs to his father, and he never liked what they were doing in there because what they were doing in the temple was wrong, and Jesus overturned the table with the money and all kind of thing, fling them down, and he backed them. If some of them licks the July want from Jesus, with the piece of meat that he specializes in eating from bull cattle, some of them they want from Jesus. Because this man here, he's operating like what he is, a dictator. Imagine now, he and the attorney general, so-called attorney general, they're now looking forward to go pass a bill that only a judge could give decision on certain criminal cases, which requires jurors. So jurors would be absent if they get that bill passed from certain cases that depends on the decision from the jurors for the judge to give final decision. So if that is not dictator, what else is dictator? That is, I ain't gonna stay along with this because I got one more little piece to come back in. I'm gonna try get it in and say it. Let other people get the doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your information, for your intervention. My Street Dog family, I'm hearing just now that the Facebook is not up. I'm not too certain about that. My man of business would normally check that, so I think that will be under control if the Facebook is not up. But if it's not up, then we do apologize. But my technician is normally in the house, and like I said, he would sort those matters out, and I would be a little surprised that it is not up. But I am. Let me see if yes, I am. Yes, my Street Dog family. I'm sorry about that. I was trying to check. I just got a message about the Facebook feed, so I'm trying to get sure it is okay. But let's go back to the lines. In the meantime, caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Greetings in the name of the wonderful Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Greetings to all Kittitians and division. Okay. Firstly, sometime when a friend in need of some help, we got to give him a helping hand, and we got to put enemies aside or adversary. In this case, I'm putting country above self. That statement that the Prime Minister made about diesel supporting gasoline to solar, I understand the equation and the economics of how that could be done. Indeed, it could happen, but it all depends on how you configure. But we got to work smart, and we got to make smart choices. And we need dynamic brains, minds, to do these things to sustain the country. And we have to have great thinkers to do these kind of mathematics, as I will call them. I hope everyone understands my language. Now, if the Prime Minister is interested in something like that, he could seek me as an advice, because I have country above self. But when you make a boo-boo, a stupidity, or fraganakabul, I will call you out. Only for correction. But I don't know if the Prime Minister is interested in to be correction, because everyone should stand for correction when something is not kosher. So, if you need good advisors around him, and to redeem the little that left of him, he better seek for someone like me. And I will put country above self, because I will not hold my knowledge and my understanding and my wisdom and take it to the grave without sharing it with someone. I will pass it on. But the Prime Minister really have to clean up these dumbass, hard-head, coconut-head people that are so-called advisors from around him. And the little that left of the remaining time for a new election, should it mature, that he could leave a good legacy. And that's my great advice to him. I love him as a human, but all these programs that he inherited, I think all of them should be reinstated and only for improvement. The people was getting 500 and you promised 1,500. You should have a reason why you couldn't give 1,500. At least give them 1,000, because the CBI program sustained the Federation so greatly that I believe people could have get at least $1,000. Okay? And all the social service programs that was there, he should bring them back in place, because government is continuous, but government have to learn how to tweak things better moving forward than to zap, 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 zap.
Okay.
And you got to learn to make people love you. Give the people what they desire as a human being, and they will love you. I am a salesman. I sell cars. And in order for me to get a car sell, I have to make the customer love me.
Okay, got you.
I have to greet them. And he's not greeting the people or giving the people what they desire. Instead, if you're cutting down people, taking food out of their mouth and looking for higher heights and nothing not happening, that's a problem. You need help. You better call me, sir.
Okay, got
With
you.
due respect. Good night to all. And I hope better will be better. A better horizon is on the brink
Okay.
for all people of St. Kitts and Nevis. I love all of you, and I will continue to fight, and I will be a soldier, not for politics, but for the people. Thank you. Appreciate the time. Bye for now.
Thank you. Appreciate your contribution. We go back to the lines, caller. Thank you for holding your live.
Patches, how are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm fine, Patches. But we're getting some disturbing news right now. Very disturbing, Patches. The people, I think it's want to know who the ministers them involved in the piece of land over there by the first roundabout going down into Fleet Bay. Going to put them apartments in a residential area. I mean, it can't be the Fleet Bay development give them approval to do that. You know, and when they're going to put on the ministerial jacket and go against the law, I have a problem with that. So, we're going to hear some more from them, because the court of conscience will be coming hard at them, you know, because it's confirmed, Patches, that ministers of government involved in it, and a big businessman, and we ain't going to play with them kind of thing, you know. The law is the law, because the man was alive down there by the technical college. Them thing couldn't work, eh? So, Patches, you know, the PLP party, headed by Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris, we are having a peace march for milk on Saturday morning, starting from the cinema, West Bastille, to Newtown Sporting Complex. And we're asking everybody who knows that young man who was slain over in
Keys.
the village over there, Patches.
Well, just outside the Keys there.
Huh?
Just on the outskirts of Keys.
Just on the outskirts of Keys.
Yeah. Holland got
We asking you all to come and show your solidarity, because we haven't play with them kind of things. We're not going to play them kind of murder the time when we finish there and talk country issues. Patches, God bless you. And continue doing the good work for the people. I think it's Nevis. And we aim and stop fight for people. When you was there, Patches, infrastructure was going. But now we're seeing a set of people look like they want to come rich in half where they think it. They're playing drugs, people, you see, so we gonna know. Patches, have a good night. And God bless you.
God bless you.
This is John down here. I can't.
God bless you as well, my dear brother. Jam Down, always welcome your contributions. Let's see if we can juggle with these emails in the meantime as well. Good night, sir. Do you think in cases of emergencies when a particular orthopedic surgeon is on call, he decides that he's not performing emergency surgery on clients unless they bring a large amount of money up front? It was alleged that a gentleman got knocked down in a road accident and sustained an amount of broken bones, several parts of his body, including foot, face, etc. He was not operated on until his family showed up with $28,000 to the name brand Cuban orthopedic surgeon. Don't they get paid on call? Just a concerned citizen reads this email. I'm appealing to the political parties of PLP and PAM to come together as a united opposition force to challenge the government in the next general elections. Let us not make the same foolish and imprudent mistake we did in 2022, thinking that each single opposition party could win on their own. Monstrous opposition parties recently came together to fight against the incumbent government. Let us follow their lead. There are those who would remind you of the past about what was said and done to each other for their own selfish reasons. Let's ignore them and focus in removing those self-serving, lying, corrupt camps from government. However, the leaders of PAM should never forget nor forgive that wicked, daring, greedy snake for the irreparable damage, hurt, and embarrassment he has caused the party by willfully, maliciously depriving Sean of the opposition leadership in the House. Even the senatorial post he took for himself, leaving poor Pam out in the cold, and now when in the House he criticizing Sean for criticizing the government. Blessed love, Mr. Straight Talk. The last episode entitled Where There Is Smoke, There Is Fire. I actually tuned in the time when you when you opened up the telephone lines. It's had a very new, interested caller, really making a strong point that you have to vote for yourselves and not for family or no old traditional party. Because your future lying on you, that's nice. And I totally agree with that caller 100%. But have another caller in talk about Jew administration's team need a review. That's true. But one thing, I did not agree with that caller when he holding the line and talking about rumors in the thing does really draw out things. But the issue and facts we all want to hear. You understand me, Mr. Straight Talk? With this other email. This email reads, Good night, Patches. It seems as though throughout St. Kitts, more and more persons are experiencing the dirty water from their taps. Just today, a little boy witnessed it and he yelled out to his mom in fright, wondering what's going on. What is the sleeping tiger doing to help solve this problem? because I thought since the Keon successful water well giving clean water, beg your pardon, as he said, shouldn't the problem improve? It's worse now all over. Low water pressure or no water at all. Is this other email? Good night, Patches. Can't Dr. Drew read the room? The country is fed up of him and his lies. We are ready for a change, Dr. Drew. You are so naive, you don't even realize that you have lost all credibility with the people in the country. I can't believe Dr. Drew was such a dummy. Reads this other email. Patches, the government is worse than a Dolly House government. After the entire summer vacation has passed, the Keon High School still not operational. Can you imagine July drove up to Keon today and told the school children he'd bring Coney Island for them? Can you imagine that? No proper school room for the children, but he's there boasting about bringing Coney Island for them. Mind you, these are the same people who tell the police to hold anyone under the age of 16 who on the road after 9 or 10 o'clock, you know. July, boy, you are really a Dolly House boy, reads this email. Good night, Patches. You keep blaming CCM and Pam for the breakup of Team Unity. Patches, you chose not to mention the real culprit, Timothy Harris, for breaking up Team Unity. Patches, you know that there was a problem within the cabinet with Timothy Harris in the first term that spilled over into the second term. That information was in the public domain. The majority of elected parliamentarians was not happy with the leadership of Timothy Harris. He was asked to step down and let someone else take over the leadership. Timothy refused to step down. Timothy fired 6 elected parliamentarians, dissolved the House, and set a date for fresh elections. By this time, PLP had placed representatives in all 8 constituencies. Timothy's plans backfired. The Labour Party won the elections. If Timothy Harris did step down when he was asked to do so, Timothy Harris would have been in office today. Timothy Harris is the biggest nincompoop, reads this email. Patches, does Dr. July listen to himself when he speaks? This guy sounds so stupid and retarded. Every time or everything is on the way, according to him. The reporter should have asked him all these things that are on the way. Where are they coming from? China, Cuba, or St. Vincent? This other email reads, Dear Patches, I feel compelled to bring to your attention the latest example of the superficial leadership plaguing our country under the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. To Risen Minister Marsha Henderson's blatant absence during late 2020's inaugural flight to St. Kitts, while the St. Christopher Aaron Supports Authority marked its 31st anniversary. Late 2020 began operations without the water cannon, salute, and fanfare typically reserved for new airlines. Other carriers like Caribbean Airlines and Inter-Caribbean Airways were treated to full ceremonial welcome. Why not late 2020? This isn't just a random oversight. Marsha Henderson's absence is a glaring testament to her priorities. She's there when the cameras are on and the praises are loud, but when there's no spotlight to bask in, she's missing in action. Her excuse of miscommunication rings hollow when weighed against her record of showing up only when it suits her image. This reflects a broader disturbing trend with the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party leadership, focused on self-promotion rather than serving the people. It's time to call out these empty gestures and demand accountability. Marsha's behavior isn't an isolated incident. It's symptomatic of an administration that values image over substance. The people of St. Kitts deserve leaders who are present, engaged, and committed, not just when the cameras are rolling, reads this email. It's 9:35, 25 before the 10 o'clock hour. We go back to the line and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Patches, man. How you doing, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, man. A lot to talk about, like usual, man.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, me, the advice I got straight to the Prime Minister is, start thinking before he speak. He been misspeaking a lot. And these clips that you be playing, it can't be denied. So any situation that he was in recently where he misspoke, and he's hearing some of these clips on the air, he should try to come back and clean that up. A lot of things to talk about, like I said, man. But me personally, I believe that the people of St. Kitts Nevis deserve to have a midterm mechanism in place where when the government is messing up and the people are so dissatisfied, they can recall them. Because, 2 years with this government and the reality on the ground is not like what they're trying to portray. The crime is spiraling out of control. Ministers of government names are being tossed around on social media. And the Prime Minister needs to come and clear that up as well. He needs to address that. Or he needs to put on a press conference and have those persons whose names are being bounced around come on the air and clear their names if there are no, wrongdoings from all these allegations. Your guy Culture, he mentioned about like them trying to put a single judge in place on some of those cases. That's something the people got to be watching, because we know that there's been some mention about a case coming up against Timothy Harris with some monies missing from Development Bank. And if he got to go on trial and this government got to put a judge in place to oversee such a case, that is not going to be a good look, man.
But
it will be.
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Where you got that information about a case coming up against Timothy Harris and Development?
The Prime Minister has been saying that in his briefings.
You believe anything the Prime Minister says? There's a case. There's a case against the Prime Minister in coming up from management sometime. I think is if not later this month. Yes, there's no case that I know about against Timothy Harris. So
well,
I will want that to go out here on these airwaves.
Well, he's been mentioning about some case coming up, and
the Prime Minister. I'm sorry to interrupt.
He said he don't want to talk too much about it.
I am sorry to interrupt. I'm really sorry to interrupt you, but the Prime Minister is just chatting baloney, right?
Okay, let's leave that alone. Yeah, let's go forward.
But don't believe anything the Prime Minister says. As you said, he talks so much out of turn, and needs to get advice.
Okay, let me get past that.
I'm not trying to defend Timothy Harris, because he can defend himself. But
all right, okay, let's get past that. Let me get past that.
Yeah, but please don't spread.
Let me get past that, and I'm going to go back to the comment that Jam Culture made. Anyway, I'm going to go back to that comment.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's Timothy Harris or any other person in the Federation that has to come up against a specific judge in any case, then that's going to be real bias. So that's where I'm going to put that, and I'm going to leave that alone.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, man, my other points that I made, I'm concentrating on that crime, and that midterm mechanism. I want to get a midterm mechanism going to place. So when the people are dissatisfied by the performance of the government, they can recall them, through a referendum or something like that. Different than that, big up to my colleague there. Welcome for coming in with that, engineering expert there. Advice. And thanks a lot, man. Have a good night.
Thanks a lot for your contribution as usual. But like I said, we like the facts to go out from straight talk and not nonsense that July would peddle. Dear Patches, reads this email. I felt the need to share what went down in Cairn this week when Dr. Drew decided to parade to the community in what can only be described as a sad attempt at damage control. After abandoning the Keon High School, leaving it to in a state of disrepair, the people of Keon have had enough. Dr. Drew showed up, but the truth is, no one cared. It was a sight to behold as residents deeply engrossed in their game of dominoes paid no mind to Dr. Drew's presence mere steps away, treating him like a mere passerby rather than the leader of the nation. Let's not kid ourselves. If President Obama were in that spot, those dominoes would have been set aside in a heartbeat. But when Dr. Drew strolls by, he might as well be invisible. It's a powerful image of just how disconnected and disrespected the Prime Minister has become. His blatant neglect of the school and community has turned people away. They have lost faith in him because his actions have made it clear he's more interested in his own pockets than in the future of Keon's children. Keon people aren't fools. They see through the fake smiles and empty promises. Dr. Drew has lost respect of his own constituents, and the writing is on the wall. His leadership has become a joke, and the people have stopped caring. Keon people not easy at all. Reads this email. Good night, Patches. Shadwell is out of water from about 10:30 a.m. until 4 a.m. daily. How much longer we in the Shadwell area must bear this nonsense? Congress, you got to come better than this. This is ridiculous, and it's been going on for too long. It's 9:42, my Straight Dog family. For those of you who may have just yes, I understand, yes, there's a problem in Facebook, but we do apologize for that, but try to get to YouTube if you can. Don't know if that my technician has sorted that out as yet. But yes, my Straight Dog family, you may have just joined us. If you joined me belatedly, our thesis for tonight, we looked at as titled, Genius has its limits, stupidity has none. And we also looked, well, let's go to the lines, I'll come back to that. My Straight Dog family, call you live.
Yeah. Okay, Patches. I am back. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, brother, Patches, I understand that it's 65 murders, whether they want to call it homicide or yard or whatever it is. 65 recorded murders in the space of 2 years. But I will add one more to it, the one that got knocked down on George Street and was beaten with some kind of weapon. Well, they don't include that in the official thing, but a death is a death. Now, if that man did July had any God in him, July would not have been behaving like this. Because when people are in need, help them. In need is different to in want. Want is on the surface with greedy eyes, but need is a hole to be filled. And if you can take away the little bit of sustenance that the people down in the hole are getting from a farm administration, and tell a big lie to the people, convince the people that you're going to do it, and cause the people to change their mind and put down the bone what they had in their mouth and jump in the water, think they can find a bone, another bone. That is bad. You do not have no God in him. He's a wicked man. All he intends is to full up his long pocket them and propel himself with lies. Too much lies. He going forward. The country is supposed to go forward. Government is continuous. He meet a lot of things in the project, in the pipeline. A lot of good projects in the pipeline. All he had was to do, give it more gas and continue full it up. Look at the solar panel then. What Appleton said about it. Look at that.
But you see what happened to he? He don't want to, he so hate Timothy Harris and Team Unity that he don't want to continue nothing that they started, and he even changing the name of everything he can change. When Labour government is in power, they do a lot of wrong things to the country. That is the nature. Look who was in power when the man put down the house, Frigate Bay and the Caribbean side of the beach. Black people from going down further. Who give him permission to put that there? They defy the rules and regulation of the Frigate Bay development and give him permission to put a house there. So what they want to do over there by the other side, well, I ain't surprised with that. I'm not surprised because they're doing things so that people could say that they're doing things, but they're hurting the country and people. And I'm saying this now. This month here, September month, also is the month when I born. But patches, this year start the third year for this wicked, heinous, devilish government in this country, the third year. And they should have been done opposed upon before the first 6 months when they start to go up and down the place with the treasury money and countries in red. When we gonna wait? When we gonna do that? Throw them out up there politically with the X's, get them out, let him confused. He do not know what he's doing. That's the reason why too much pressure coming on him and he had to run for relief. Now he come back again, he still don't know what he's doing. You know why? He had and he have and he will never have any vision. So therefore, he cannot run the country. And pressure will come upon him. Patrick, thank you. If I have anything else, I will chip it in.
Thank you very much. As usual, the nincompoop who wrote that email reads this email. Labour didn't win the last election. Reason why we are suffering and have so many killings. If you listen to July, he said with his own mouth, an election can be bought. He said that, so don't feel proud about Labour buying the election. If it's a spiritual warfare and we're under some serious attack, if the people had spiritual eyes, if they had vision, they would have never voted for Labour. Now all is suffering. Who could eat and who can't eat? When Labour won the election, there was complete silence in St. Kitts. I bet you could never tell me why the silence. Y'all don't pay attention at all. Reads this other email. It's 14 before the 10 o'clock hour as we are winding down. And just for those who may have joined Straight Talk for the first time, it is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. We do have our observations in review, then we have a thesis, then we include your calls and have a conversation. And before coming to join you in conversation tonight, I did some reflection on the state of my beloved country, or I should say, our beloved country. And it was not difficult to conclude that things are not good. And I'm sure that you will agree with me that things are bad. Yes, things are bad in other countries in the world. In the USA, you hear talk about inflation. You hear talk about the high cost of living. So it's obvious that things will be bad here in St. Kitts because we are not self-sufficient in most things. But those in leadership, all they do is to cast blame, apportion blame on their predecessors. Those in current leadership of our country told us that investors were waiting on Labour. They told us that in them we will find a team of experts. They said that. But for 2 years, July has been trying to convince, I don't know whom, because it is so ridiculous. It is so absurd, so silly, such stupidity, when he would continue to peddle nonsensical statements like this one, my straight dog family. And he keeps repeating this statement, and I don't know why, my straight dog family, because nobody believes him, and he comes across as being daft. Because anybody who knows St. Kitts, even if they just visited St. Kitts, would never believe this.
We have been getting calls, lots of calls, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I imagine in other parts of the world, it is day when it is the 4 in the morning here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have been bombarded by persons who are interested in investing in St. Kitts and Nevis. And of note, we have not seen any significant major investment in the last 7 years. And therefore, I think our people must know that people are ready to invest in St. Kitts and Nevis again.
And you know, my straight dog family, he made that same comment as recently as yesterday. And my straight dog family, I immediately thought about something I advanced about just over a week ago, when I did bring this fact about Tony Blair, who addressed himself. Tony Blair addressed himself in 2010, writing his memoirs. And you can glean from your screen. Tony Blair referred to himself like this, and I quote, "You idiot, you naive, foolish, irresponsible nincompoop." That's what Tony Blair said about himself, my straight dog family. And this is what made me reflect on a famous quotation that came to mind, which goes like this, and I quote, "The difference between genius and stupidity is that genius has its limits. Many pundits suggest that there is no substantive evidence, but this quotation has been attributed to Albert Einstein. So I decided to use the quotation as my point of departure. However, I tweaked it just a little bit. That is why I have titled my thesis for tonight, "Genius has its limits. Stupidity has none." And my straight dog family, while acknowledging that the past is crucial for understanding current challenges, it is imperative for those in leadership roles, especially those in government. It is necessary for them to accept their responsibility to govern effectively. So we are employing Dr. July to focus on advancing the country rather than dwelling on your past grievances or blaming your predecessors. Every time you come, Harris this, Harris that, Harris so and so. The time has come and gone, Dr. July, for concentrating on constructive solutions to drive progress forward for the benefit of our nation. When will Dr. July rise above the tendency to blame team unity and focus instead on the present and the future? You have the responsibility to lead the country towards progress and improvement and cast aside your historical grievances. 2 years have gone poof, and yet your administration has not demonstrated a clear vision for the country's future, and which outlines specific actionable goals and strategies. When asked about capital projects,
the capital project, I will say, let me go through them for you, if you don't mind. Smart homes, on their way. Right? On the way. The hospital, on the way as well. The school, on the way as well. The solar plant or solar farm, on the way as well. There are some others I will mention, not yet, but they are definitely coming on the way. We have about 2 other major investments. One will be an agriculture major investment that will also come. We have an investment for the airport that is advancing.
Leaders in cabinet is not accountable to the citizens and residents of the country for the outcomes of their policies or lack thereof, and their inactions or actions. And I like this outspoken retired teacher. We've had our differences, but I admire his tenacity. I admire his objectivity. And I admire his frankness.
We have a really serious problem as it pertains to how government use its rule in not just governing and administering the country, but how it interacts with the public. They seem to have, and all of the governments are guilty of it, including the current one. They seem to have an almost self-imposed blackout of information. That's why yesterday I made a point of asking the Prime Minister if he's satisfied with our levels of transparency. Because to me, it leaves a lot to be desired. Right? He himself said that essentially it's a work in progress, and that not where we should be yet. But the thing is, that was the excuse of a lot of the previous administration. And I'm saying that it should not take long for measures to be put in place to make sure that there's openness in government.
And yes, my Stray Dog family, there's no transparency. Good night, Mr. Liburd reads this final email. Imagine things in the country are so bad that in less than an hour after the amusement park sent out job vacancies, over 200 applicants applied, and they had to close the registration early. Reads this email. And as we wrap for tonight, my Stray Dog family, there's no accountability, no openness in government. But there's also a serious discrepancy in the housing policy of this July labor. As we will find that there is a purpose and execution misalignment, I call it. I say so because the fundamental role of the National Housing Corporation, NHC, is to ensure access to affordable housing for the poor and indigent. However, the decision to embark upon this historically large project has created more questions than answers, my Stray Dog family. Remember this announcement?
As the Minister responsible for housing and human settlement, I am pleased to formally announce that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and National Housing Corporation, NHC, has signed a contract with East Coast Housing Development a Trinidadian-based developer, to finance and deliver 2,400 affordable smart homes over a period of 4 years, 600 of which will be made available each year.
So where is Brian Singh of East Coast Housing Development, slow student? And what is the current situation? It is a big secret, and people are upset about it.
When this whole housing thing started, for instance, the impression given was that the developer would also finance the homes, and then people would, those who are bankable, I think it was the term used, would then go and acquire them, etc., etc. If there's a new model, we have not we don't know of it. Okay, certainly the timelines that were given at first, those have gone to the window long time, and we are none the wiser about what is the current situation, right? And there are so many other projects that are supposed to be, should have been rolled out already, that's still in the pipeline. I think the term used was coming soon. I remember asking the Attorney General one, why can't the housing contract be made public? And he gave the same nonsensical argument about, well, they may be trade secrets. In a housing contract? Huh? You know, and we're supposed to accept things like that? That's ridiculous. But every time having to make excuses, and, you know, it's becoming unbearable now, to be quite honest.
Yes. And what Garth Lucifer Wilkin told the country, that this housing project caters only to those who can afford bank loans. And that's in stark contrast with the mission of the National Housing Corporation. This misalignment, I call it, reveals a profound failure in policy execution, where this monumental project fails to address the real needs of the intended beneficiaries of the NHC projects. The result is a missed opportunity to address the pressing needs of low-income people effectively. In the context of the East Coast Housing Development Project, this boundless stupidity manifests in several ways. The failure to conduct thorough needs assessments, the neglect of input from community stakeholders, and the disregard to establish best practices in affordable housing development. The result is a policy that not only fails to achieve its intended goals, but also compounds existing socio-economic issues. My Straight Talk family, the contradiction of constructing high-end housing projects by a national housing corporation designed to aid the poor exemplifies Einstein's observation that while genius has its limits, stupidity often does not. They dismantled the peace program. And like someone said earlier, 65 murders in 2 years, and worse yet, the word on the street is that the hands of a member of the July cabinet are red. What about the CBI program? We can talk all night about that. Martinez, a French convicted felon who spent years in a French jail, heads a PBO option, or 2 PBO options, my Straight Talk family. So didn't the snake Mark Brantley and the NIA do due diligence on Philippe Martinez? If they did, they would have found out that this is a bad man. He can never qualify for citizenship of St. Kitts Nevis because of his criminal record. He can never get a St. Kitts Nevis passport because he's a bad man. And look at what he's doing to our CBI program and to St. Kitts Nevis. And one wonders, if he's aided and abetted by Garth Wilkin, because he said this about the Attorney General.
You have seen the WhatsApp messages of the Attorney General of St. Kitts and Nevis in the lawsuit. That's not me writing that. That is the Attorney General calling the scheme a good scam, saying that they were selling at $75,000. The legal price is $175,000, $100,000 less. This is not even a scam. This is the biggest heist that took place on the people of the Caribbean with their passport money.
And my Straight Talk family, I only played that to expose the Attorney General. But give no credit to what this French convicted criminal said. But what, you may ask, has gone wrong with July and his team of experts? Well, I posit the view that genius and expertise are both limited by the bounds of human knowledge and capacity. Yet, while expertise operates within these limits, it is still constrained by the evolving nature of knowledge and external factors. In contrast, stupidity, characterized by a lack of critical thinking and awareness, lacks such constraints and can perpetuate unchecked errors and misjudgments. And that must be the crux of the problems with this July administration. There's no water, no electricity, no jobs, no food. But the government touts the ambition that it will become the first sustainable island state in the world. How ludicrous can our leader get, my Straight Talk family? So foolish, so unreasonable, laughable, my Straight Talk family, that our leader now plans to resolve our energy crisis, our water crisis, our agriculture crisis, and lastly, he intends, he says, to resolve our economic crisis. Do you believe him? I don't, for one moment. I don't ever believe anything he says, but let me dispense of these emails before I wrap my Straight Talk family. Good night, Mr. Liburd. As Dr. July asks, why pay millions of dollars into renting generators when the government can pump the millions into solar energy? It is my belief that this will benefit the country significantly. After all, the solar project was already in the pipeline, and the government not wanting to do this project because it was a PLP idea, a PLP project. The Prime Minister, arrogant and hot-head advisor, stated that is a good project. So why can't they just move forward with the project? Read this email. Good night, Patches. When a minister of government is given $400 travel allowances, allegedly per day, in this money for food and entertainment, 10 days is $4,000. That's a lot of money. Can you shed some light on this? Read this email. Smart homes, smart hospitals, smart desalination plant, smart politicians. And my Straight Talk family, as we wrap tonight's program, our leader, as I said, plans to resolve our energy crisis, our water crisis, our agriculture crisis, and lastly as well, he plans to resolve our economic crisis. That's what he says.
Remember, we had gone to the Saudis to get funding for 2 top-line generators, which will generate the 18 megawatts generators. That process is ongoing. So we expect the generators that are going to be built, we expect to get them next year. They can work with, the normal diesel, or they can work with other type of renewable sources. So they are dual in a sense. But in addition to that, with respect to the solar plant, we have gone to reform it, renegotiate it, so that can start as well. So we have to shift to the renewable energy. And we are having serious discussions already and advancing with geothermal. So we need to resolve our energy matter so that we can resolve our water matter, so that we can resolve our agricultural matter, and then we can resolve our economic matter. So we are building St. Kitts and Nevis almost from scratch.
Building St. Kitts and Nevis almost from scratch. Under July, he has outlined that clear strategy to build St. Kitts and Nevis almost from scratch. He pioneers the first dual-operated fossil fuel generators that, according to him, can work with renewable energy. What an expert who has confirmed to us all that genius has its limits, stupidity has none. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I'm not going to change it. But I'm going to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I must apologize for that break we had in our Facebook feed. It came back, I'm advised, but we do apologize for that. I want to thank all of you who called, those who sent emails, and a whole lot of you just listened silently, as many would say. But I want to say to you that the listeners, emailers, the callers, all of you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spear, we will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until we connect then, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Do your chores, relax yourself, go to church, praise your Lord, and be good to all whom you meet. And just remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, my Straight Talk family, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Until we connect on Monday, bye-bye, my Straight Talk family.